On the night of October 11, 1966, two boys, Martin Munov and James Yankaitis, were walking home on 4th Street in Elizabeth, New Jersey. Yankaitis noticed something odd in the thick scrub bush on the opposite side of a fence. He quickly alerted Munov, who turned around and saw the huge human-like figure clad in a green one-piece suit that seemed to be reflecting the streetlight above. Munov would tell the police, "Jimmy nudged me and said, 'Who's that guy standing behind you?' I looked around and there he was, behind that fence, just standing there. He pivoted around and looked right at us. Then he grinned, a big old grin." Yankaitis would state, "He was the strangest guy we'd ever seen. He was standing behind that fence. I don't know how he got there. He was the biggest man I ever saw." The boys wasted no time in fleeing the area. 3 days later, the boys were interviewed separately by ufologist and author John Keel, as well as UFO investigator James Mosley. They both gave identical accounts of the event. The man was over 6 feet tall, they agreed, and was dressed in a sparkling green coverall costume that shimmered and seemed to reflect the streetlights. There was a wide black belt around his waist. He had a very dark complexion and little round eyes, real beady, set far apart. They could not remember seeing any hair, ears, or nose on this figure. It didn't take long for the Grinning man to become associated with a UFO sighting that had occurred on the same night just 40 miles north of Elizabeth, near an explosives factory outside of Pompton Lakes. A police officer and his wife watched what they described as a blazing white light as big as a car nearly hit an almost 600-foot tall television tower, before vanishing over nearby hills. 2 other police officers also saw the object on the opposite of the hills. Sergeant Benjamin Thompson stated, "The light was brilliantly white. It lit up the whole area for about 300 yards. In fact, it blinded me when I got out of the patrol car to look at it, and I couldn't see for about 20 minutes afterwards." The Lilly family of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, had been experiencing strange happenings at their rural property on a nightly basis. One night, the youngest daughter Linda claimed that she had woken up one night and saw a large figure staring down at her. It was a man, a big man, very broad. I couldn't see his face very well, but I could see that he was grinning at me. He walked around the bed and stood right over me. I screamed again and hid under the covers. When I looked again, he was gone. She refused to sleep alone for months following the encounter. On November 2, 1966, less than a month after the first sighting, Woodrow Derenberger, a sewing machine salesman, was returning home from a business trip on Interstate 77 in Parkersburg, West Virginia, when out of nowhere a bizarre vehicle dropped down from the dark sky and landed in the road in front of him. It was unlike anything the man had ever seen before. He described it as looking like an old-fashioned kerosene lamp chimney, flaring at both ends, narrowing down to a small neck, and then enlarging in a great bulge in the center. He quickly slammed on the brakes of his truck as a hatch slid open on the side of the strange vehicle. A tall, dark-skinned man with slightly elongated eyes and a wide, creepy grin climbed out and approached him. This man's suit was blue and was made of a material that was quite shiny and had a glistening effect. Derenberger would say, his hair was combed straight back, and it was dark brown, and he seemed to have a good thick head of hair. His eyebrows, his face, his features were very normal. I don't believe that he looked any different from any other man that you would meet on the street. He kept his arms folded with his hands under his armpits, and though he spoke to Derenberger, his grin never moved. Derenberger claimed that the man spoke telepathically. "We mean you no harm, we wish you only happiness. My name is Indrid Cold. I will be visiting you again," said the mysterious figure before it returned to its vehicle, which quickly soared back up into the sky. Woodrow Derenberger reported this strange encounter to Parkersburg police, and by the next day he was interviewed on television for 30 minutes. After the interview aired, many other people came forward to back up Derenberger's sighting of the man he called Cold. Some claimed to have seen lights and fluttering vehicles on Interstate 77 on the night of the encounter. Another man said that the Grinning man attempted to flag him down, but he kept driving as he was frightened. News coverage eventually died down, but Derenberger continued to be visited by Indrid Cold. Woodrow's wife also claimed to have seen the Grinning Man. Derenberger revealed that Cold was an alien from the planet Lanulos in the galaxy of Ganymedes. One time he was taken to Cold's home planet and would state that he saw people wearing colourful shorts, and all the words on the signs appeared to be in a squiggly, oriental-like writing. Although he wrote a book about his encounters titled Visitors from Lanulos, Woodrow Derenberger gained nothing from sharing his experiences. He lost his job, and his wife divorced him. His family received years of harassing phone calls and blamed lost jobs and friends on Derenberger's stories about Indrid Cold. Woodrow suffered painful headaches and depression and eventually moved away from the area before passing away in 1990 at the age of 74. He never disavowed his statements, but he also refused to speak of them again.